the biggest thing for this week that's due on Sunday night is the workforce diversity paper. And again, in the instructions, it kind of gives you a really good idea of what we're looking for in terms of the assignment, but I wanted to touch on a few of these. So the first is you focus on one difference in your workplace where you feel that there's an intervention needed. So they give you some examples of areas of diversity, but you can really be creative here. If there's something that you see that is a diversity issue, or there's something that needs to be changed because it's homogenous and you need some diversity, a diversity shakedown or implementation, then you would make sure that you specify what that area is. So you're probably going to want to discuss a little bit of why this area is broken at your current organization, and and explain what that intervention, why that intervention is needed, essentially. And then you're going to list and identify 2 resources outside of the textbook. And at the same time, when it says textbook, I know that there's a lot of videos you have and a lot of different course contexts. We don't necessarily have like a textbook in hand. So when it says 2 resources outside of the textbook, don't forget to use the course content that we've already been discussing. So you already have a video here, Why Diversity is Upside Down, this TED Talk. There's some other resources that you have in this current week and then in other weeks that you can use. So make sure you use those to help support your thoughts, but then at least 2 additional resources outside of that that will help support this one difference. So again, you're explaining the situation in your current workplace, what's going on, what's messed up, or what the current issue is, and then you're going to get some research to explain what's going on here, how can we improve this area. There's a question here, what are the implications and needs for this group? Why do we need to support this? What is the research saying? What are people doing that are working on these specific issues? And then lastly, it says, what are some things your company should be doing or has done to respond to these needs? So I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but yeah, we're talking about what's the issue, what does the research say about this issue, what are other organizations doing, what are the implications of the workplace versus this diversity issue, what are the things you're noticing, and then again, what's research to back that up. And then lastly, what are some things specifically that your company should be doing in this area to fix this diversity issue or help curb this diversity issue, or have they done in the past to work on their needs? So you're going to at least explain one of the 2. If not, you can do both of those as well, because usually if there's a really pressing need and issue that you can see plainly, the organization hopefully has seen that already and they've already been putting things in place. Now the things that they've been putting in place might not work, but you can at least maybe talk a little bit about what they've done if they have done things. So that's really what you're going to be doing in the 2 pages. Again, the 2 pages does not count your abstract and your title page. This is, again, APA, so make sure that you have that correct. You also have a reference section at the end, which does not count in those 2 pages. And as I explained in the syllabus, 2 pages is pretty much like as close to 2 pages as you can get. Don't do 1.5 pages. 1 3/4 is probably going to be acceptable, and then you can go all the way to almost 2.5. So once you hit over the 2.5 threshold, then I view that as getting closer to 3 pages. So it really shouldn't be that difficult of an assignment. What you really want to focus on though is your research, to make sure you have good research that supports kind of your ideas for maybe change or what your company has changed, or even just research that discusses the issue in general, and maybe even reflecting on again, what other companies are going through if you want to. Now, with that said, please refrain from obviously using things like Wikipedia as your 2 resources. Doesn't mean you can't get some data from that. You need to cite it correctly, but your 2 outside resources should be good, solid academic research, not just random Googling questions and coming up with statistics. So make sure you're actually doing a little bit of research with that.